In this video, we are going to be talking about the cozy Final Fantasy game that no one seems to play, other than the hardcore Final Fantasy fans. Now, Final Fantasy 1 on the Pixel Remaster version is fairly short. It's one of the shortest JRPGs I think I've ever played in my life. It is, I think, my last playthrough only took about 5 hours, a little over 5 hours. And around 5.5 if you include the watching the credits. Because honestly, that's one of the more relaxing, what do they call it, cutscenes or credits that I've listened to in a game. So that was a plus. So short game can be beaten very quickly. My 100% run of this game, I believe, took 22 hours. Yeah, about 22 hours. So that was very nice. And it was also very relaxing during that playthrough as well. So if you want to take your time, it's chill and relaxing. If you want to beat it fairly quickly, it's chill and relaxing. And the reason why it can be beaten so quickly for a casual player is there's quality of life features such as adjusting the experience and gold rates. So you can disable it entirely, so you get nothing, no experience, no gold. You can also reduce it to half, do the default, or do 2 times and 4 times experience and gold. So either way, however you want to play it, you can adjust it on the fly by just going to the configuration area and going to the boost section, and you can do that. And there's also one other setting that's really, really nice. You can disable and enable the random encounters. So if you're just sick of the random encounters in an area, the area is too challenging, or there's problems, or maybe you just want to listen to the background music for a bit, you can disable the encounters and then enable it when you want to grind. So, really great quality of life features. And the music. The music has 2 of my favorite location or dungeon soundtracks in gaming. That is being the Sunken Shrine and the Chaos Shrine. And the Pixel Remasters makes them look pretty cool as well. Definitely like the vibes, definitely like the music. And there's other areas where the music is pretty chill and relaxing as well. But yeah, 2 really good areas. And I don't know what it is, but it seems like there's a lot of games that have really good water music. I don't know, Donkey Kong Country. Was it Aquatic Ambience, I think is what it's called, or something like that? Another really great one. Super Mario 64. That had a pretty good water music theme as well. But yeah. Now for the bosses. In JRPGs, bosses are usually one of the biggest hurdles. You usually got to figure out the patterns, or the game it's too easy and you don't really have to deal with it. But a lot of the JRPGs, they like to make them HP sponges, and you don't really, even if it's easy, they're still an HP sponge. This one, honestly, a lot of it's in between. It can be fairly challenging if you don't overlevel. You don't do the 4 times experience or whatnot. But if you want to play it casually and you don't care about challenge and you just want to just go through the experience, there's very easy ways to beat the bosses. There was a couple on my recent playthrough where it was in the middle of the game and it was like, okay, now the difficulty should be ramping up. I prepared for a multi-turn encounter with maybe a couple of their attacks potentially being, threatening for my black mage, because their HP is fairly weak. They're fairly squishy. If you look on screen, it's like 130 less than the second lowest HP on screen. So it's just like, okay, I'm preparing. Let's see. And the cheap combo is what some people like to call it, which is haste and temper on the warrior, just one-shot the boss. And it did that quite frequently from early to mid-game. Whenever I got access to haste and temper, it just dealt with them fairly quickly, which, it's kind of funny. And then there's 2 bosses. I'm not going to name which. One of them is the final boss, but I'm not going to tell you the other one. Those actually took a couple turns, and that boss was actually somewhat challenging. However, I did not overlevel. Well, I didn't overlevel enough to where like my black mage had high health. I wasn't careful in that. There are ways to cheese the health gains on there to make it so you're able to get the higher health pools at lower levels. But I didn't do any of that. I just leveled. And I was at level 60 when I beat the final boss. The only one who had to worry about actually falling was the black mage and the red mage, because it actually, even though it had a high health pool, the boss had a lot of damage. But I set it up to where that boss was not going to beat it. Just had really good heals and whatnot. Because as a red mage, can also heal. So overall, most of the encounters when it comes to bosses, and even the later encounters, if you overlevel, get all the spells, get all the equipment, you're not going to have too much of a problem with these bosses. Most of it is going to be casual, simple, and great for relaxing. Now, this game is probably going to be on my list of games that I replay fairly often because of how short it is. It's going to go on that list with like Spyro the Dragon. Spyro the Dragon is one of those games that I can 100% in under 10 hours. If there's a game out there that I like so much that it just me casually playing the game, I 100% the game in under, I want to say it was like 5 or 6 hours, I think. I could be misremembering for the first Spyro the Dragon. That's how long it took me to get everything, which is pretty short. And there are some areas where it was difficult in there. This game is one of those games that, especially with those experience features and being able to disable and enable random encounters, I could see myself replaying this game plenty of times. It has great replay value. The gameplay is a lot of fun. It's short. It's cozy. And you have, I think, 6 total different classes. So maybe what's to stop me from doing like 2 white mages and 2 black mages? Or 3 warriors and a red mage? Or 2 monks and 2 warriors? So just like different styles of playthroughs that you're like, you know what? This might actually be a lot of fun to do. I'm going to have to, you know what? I think I might end up doing this. And obviously the more you play it, the more, quicker you are going to be to beat it. I heard the speed run for this game is only like an hour or 2. So, that's fairly short for a speed run in a JRPG. I'm just going to be real. So, yeah, great replay value due to the classes and how short the game is. And this is, honestly, I cannot think of many JRPGs in my entire life that I've played that I could beat in under 10 hours. Paper Mario 64, or the Nintendo 64 Paper Mario game, was probably the last game that I think I could just beat in under 10 hours. I think that one was about 8 hours. So that was honestly very nice to actually just be able to play a JRPG that doesn't take me 30, 40 hours on the lower side to beat the game. Kind of wish there was more JRPGs that had this simple, straight to the point, no insane amount of cutscenes, just maybe a great beginning cutscene, and maybe a great ending cutscene, and maybe with like a 1 or 2 sprinkled throughout in the middle and cool areas. And just let me play a game. Honestly, I would like a couple of those games thrown in there. So, overall, this is probably one of the greatest, coziest Final Fantasy experiences that you can play. It's short. And a lot of crazy or cozy moments. You don't really have, like, it just turn your brain off, kind of. Play, relax, have fun. So if you're looking for a short JRPG, a cozy JRPG, I would honestly recommend checking out the Final Fantasy 1 Pixel Remaster. In my opinion, it is definitely a game worth checking out. It's fairly cheap just to get this one, but if you want to pick up all the other ones, I think the full collection is like $80 or something like that. I think individually this game came out I don't know if it's like $12. It's been a while since I bought this. I bought this shortly after it came out on Steam, so might also vary depending on the platform. But yeah, definitely a game worth checking out. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Peace.